Hello, this is Britt Caswell with another example video. In today's video, I'm covering example 4 from section 7-2 in the SavvasRealize Algebra 2 textbook. The goal of today's video is to understand radian measures of the unit circles. Alright, so first I want to describe what a radian is. Alright, so to start out with, I have a unit circle here. Alright. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by drawing an angle. Okay. So here's my little terminal side, or sorry, my initial side. And here on the initial side, you know that that length is 1 because a unit circle has a radius length 1. And so what I'm going to do for my terminal side is I'm also going to be drawing an angle. Again, the length of this is 1 because it's still a radius. But the distance that opens that circle right here, this is also going to be 1 unit. And so the angle that we have here is called 1 radian. And that's because the angle itself is opened, the arc that it intercepts is 1 unit long. So if I pretended that this was straight instead of curved, it's almost like an equilateral triangle. Now here's the thing, is 1 radian can be described in terms of pi if we think about the circumference. Okay, so if I were to place another radian here, and another radian here, and a little bit here. This is 0.14159 of a radian. So at 180 degrees, we encounter what we call pi radians. So it goes from 0 to pi radians. Now, I think about this as empanadas. Love me some empanadas. An empanada is a hand pie that is usually formed by taking a circle and folding it in half and pinching around the edges. So if you think about this as an empanada, this top circle, you have 1 pi worth of empanadas on here. So if I were to take another empanada and put it, seam side down like that, with my first empanada, I would have 2 hand pies, right? So going around this circle, I would have 2 pi empanadas. And so that's actually how I think of radians, is I think about half of the circle as a hand pie, and then we'll think about fractions to break that hand pie up. Okay, that's the best way that I could think about it. So let's talk about using radian measure to help us to sketch an angle. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to borrow this little cutout from the book. So say, for example, I would like to do 4 pi over 3 radians. I want to sketch that on my circle. So if I think about 4/3, that's bigger than 1, right? So I know that I'm going to start with my initial side at 0. And I know that I'm going to use at least 1 empanada, or 1 pi, worth of material, because 4/3 is bigger than 1. And so now I need an additional 1/3. All right? So this here is, ooh, lordy. So this here is 3/3 pi. So I need another 1/3 pi to make 4/3. Okay? So this bottom empanada, I'm going to call it the red empanada, I only need 1/3 of it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it up into 3 units. Alright, so here's 1/3 pi, here's 2/3 pi, and here's 3/3 pi. And so I only need 1/3 of it because I'm going to match the blue and then this 1/3 pi. to make my 4/3. So the rest of this empanada is edible. There we go. Oops. Got a little too excited with that erasing. Let's try that one more time. It's close enough. All right. So this would be the angle that is 4/3 pi radians. All right, so it's somewhere between 180 and 270, which we can get into how to convert to degrees, right? Because you know that half of a circle here is 180 degrees. So if I'm taking 1/3 of a half, this would be 60 degrees. And so 4/3 pi radians is equal to 180 plus 60, so 240 degrees. So that's kind of the way that I would remember that. All right, so now let's try this with the try it with -5/6 pi. Okay. So starting out, it's a negative angle. So I'm going to start by dealing with this bottom empanada, right? Because that's a negative angle is going to go clockwise. Okay, so that's the part of the empanada I'm dealing with. Now my initial side still starts on 0. Okay, so there's my starting side. And then I need to go backwards 5/6 of a pi. So I need to break apart this bottom empanada into fifths. Or sorry, into 6 because it's divided by 6. So this line that goes down breaks it into half. So each quarter needs to get broken up into thirds to make for 6. So if I count it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is -6/6 pi. But I only need -5/6 pi, so I'm going to eat this last little slice. Nom, 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 nom. And so right here, this is -5 pi/6 radians. So what is that in degrees, you might ask? That's a good question. So if we divided this into sixths, and it's a 180-degree arc, that means that each of these wedges is 30 degrees. And because we're going in the clockwise direction, they're all negative. And so that would make -150 degrees. So there we have it, guys. That is how to understand radian measure on the unit circle, or at least how to draw a reference angle with it. The next example gets a little more useful with conversions. Until next time.